Calvin Castine with the microphone. Gordy Little, who has been following this North Country Honor Flight with us for the past couple of months, is busy in Lake Placid today. It's June 13th, 2013, and we're at the West Plattsburgh American Legion, post 1619. And there's a little testimonial dinner going on here tonight, and I've got a couple of people from, is it the Saranac Freedom Club? Is that the name of it?
Saranac Freedom Club.
All right, your name?
Ryan Wood.
Ryan Wood?
Yep.
Not Brian, Ryan.
Ryan.
All righty, and?
I'm Kaylee Kucher.
Kaylee Kucher. All righty. What is the Saranac Freedom Club?
It's kind of like an organization, and we try to do whatever we can to help our local veterans. We raise money to give them a handicap ramp and fundraise for anything that they need. This year we were lucky enough to go down to Washington, D.C. when they went down with the honor flight, and they saw their monument, and it was absolutely amazing. And we were right there with them to help them out, and it was amazing.
Now, was that just serendipity, or did you plan on?
We planned on going to Washington and doing all that stuff, but it just happened to be that honor flight was going down at the same time. So as soon as we found out, we collaborated with them, and we wanted to make sure that we were down there when they got there to welcome them to their monument. It was great.
Okay, how many folks in your club?
We have 36 members and 4 chaperones in our club right now.
So 40 people?
Yes.
All of them went?
Yep.
All of them went. It was amazing.
It was a great trip.
36, what's the grade levels?
We have 34 seniors and 2 juniors.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
This club could fall apart here very quickly. How long has this club been going on?
Yes, it's been going on for probably about 13, 14 years. So.
And when did you get involved?
You're allowed to get involved as a senior, and then we take 2 11th graders to photographer the trip and take film of the trip.
Uh-oh.
So, yes.
Yeah. It's all brand new when you get involved.
It is, but this year Miss B, we had such a good time this year, so she asked us to go back next year, and part of this dinner, we want to keep doing things. Even though we're seniors and we're graduating, we still want to have a part in helping them as much as we can, and that's why we kind of planned this dinner. We wanted to thank them for all that they did, because while we were down there, they changed our lives. I don't think they realized that. How much they impacted our lives, and that's why we had this dinner tonight, so we could show them how much we thank them.
It'll definitely be an honor to serve them tonight like they served us.
So you guys are serving the dinner?
Yes,
we are
serving
We're
the
doing
dinner.
everything. We don't want them to do one thing. We're doing everything that we can.
I thought you were going to be here enjoying the dinner.
No, we are not.
Whatever to do for them.
Yeah, whatever they need, they're enjoying their night.
Okay, so has most of the club been able to make it tonight?
We're probably going to have about 20 in their attendance of their family, so should be pretty good.
I think we have about 158 people confirmed to be here tonight,
Wow.
so we're going to try to fit them all in.
Spaghetti's on the menu, right?
No. Chicken and biscuits.
Chicken and biscuits,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I lied to you, Judy. It's chicken and biscuits. So who's the master chef here?
My dad, Rick Kucher, and my papa and my uncle are all lucky enough to help us tonight, and my mother. So it'll be good. It'll be good
Have they
dinner.
cooked for mass quantities before?
Well, they work at the jail, so yes, they have 2,000 inmates, yes.
They cook at the jail.
Yes.
A lot of people work at the jail, but don't.
Yeah, they cook.
Okay. Do you have any veterans in your family?
My papa served, and my mom's dad also served.
All right, got names for those folks?
Dick Kucher and Ken Mannion. So.
Okay. And how about you?
My great-grandfather served. Joe Wood. I don't know.
Okay. That's
World War II.
Altona?
Yep. World War II, yep.
And Joe Wood Road in Altona?
I'm not quite sure.
You're not sure, huh?
No.
You gotta find out. There's the Woods Falls there in Altona. There's a Joe Wood Road in Altona.
I'll have to figure it out.
You better find out. Or you might be more famous than you think.
Yeah, you never know, I guess.
Okay, you guys done anything yet besides greet people?
So far, I've cut about 100 pounds of potatoes, and I've set up all the tables, so I'm ready.
She's hard at work.
And what have you been doing?
I got here a little late, but I helped her set up the tables. We did all the silverware. Stewart's donated all ice cream sundaes for tonight, so we got all those up and running.
Yep, we had many people donate to our dinner.
Yeah,
Very grateful
thankful,
for.
yeah.
Okay, how do you fundraise? Flying to Washington is not cheap.
Well, we actually drove a coach bus. We all fundraised. We sold 50-50 raffle tickets. We did a spaghetti dinner here at the Legion.
We did mainly lobster dinner. They helped support us, and they let us host a dinner there. So
Rich is pretty good about that.
yeah.
They're all very nice. Yes, they worked good with us. So, and then anything we had left, I mean, our parents helped us. We worked for it, and we got there. So.
It was great.
Okay. Now, does the Freedom Club have a motto that it has, or what does it have a purpose? What is it? Any bylaws, guidelines?
Support the veterans. It's all about the veterans. It's if you're into it, then you go to this club for it.
Okay. That's a pretty good percentage of 34 seniors. That's a pretty
Yeah.
good percentage of your class.
Yeah, it is.
A quarter or so of the class, probably.
Yeah, and we had some kids come and go, but the ones that went on the trip were the most dedicated, and I think that's what made it such a good trip this year.
Well, I applaud you folks for doing this.
Thank you.
It's the least we could do for our
I
fellow
was talking
veterans.
about those rotten kids here. And there's a couple examples of what this world is turning into here, folks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Keep it
much.
up.
Some pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we've got Danny Kafitz now, the original instigator of all this, and still, even though he's not chief cook and bottle washer tonight, he's he's been doing a lot of that with this organization, the North Country Honor Flight. Danny, you got to kind of love that Freedom Club, don't you?
Just incredible. But I love Calvin and Gordy, who's not with us. You guys have done a lot to promote the Honor Flight. I can't even measure the difference you've made in how much people know about what we're doing and how much people seem to care about what we're doing. And that is largely thanks to you. No other network station cared. You guys started doing the long interviews with us, the movie. You were on the bus. You're doing this. You were at both our send-offs. Honor Flight owes hometown, our hometown cable and your broadcast and Gordy and all your camera work a lot of thanks. And we'd like to get that out of the way right now. So now we're good with that.
All right, we appreciate that, but it's our honor. We feel privileged to be able to be a part of this. So these fellows were there back on May 18th, and apparently they didn't figure they'd done enough. They still want to do more tonight.
Absolutely. This Freedom Club, if you don't know what it is a group of senior students at Saranac High School under the leadership of Elise Bolia, one of the teachers, and several assistants from the high school. They traveled to Washington and they coordinated a trip they were taking in Washington to meet us at our memorial with this huge banner that's over on the wall with all the World War II pictures of our veterans that were present. And for every one of these guys, and I'm sure they're here tonight to express that it was one of the highlights of their trip to see these young students there that cared so much to welcome them to their own memorial in Washington.
It's kind of remarkable in this day and age to have that happen, I think.
Well, I think so. When you go to VFW Post and other veterans care about you, or you're at a Legion Post and they'll put up a color guard or a standing ovation or salute, you almost expect that. That's our veterans honoring our veterans. But for a generation that I can hardly relate to, and suddenly I see this level of patriotism displayed, they get a lot of credit. Whoever instilled that in them, which is the very people we're going to be meeting here tonight, their parents, their teachers, and their leaders. This is quite a difference from the mainstream America generation of high school kids.
Yep. Incredible. Is it just going to be the May 18th flight, or are there going to be people from June 8th here also?
We have both flights were invited. We have all Honor Flight officers invited. We have spouses and family invited. There's so few that get to go on the flights that when we have an event like this, well, you can see the number of tables set up. When we have an event like this, we try to make it a family event, bring everybody that wasn't able to actually fly with us to participate and enjoy this thing. And they're doing an incredible job. We got the whole Legion Post here for this, and I understand 150 people turning out. A lot of the students have speeches prepared. Unfortunately, this is the timing, in a way, ironic, I guess, is at best, and tragic at worst. A very close friend of all of these Honor Flight students, Mr. Jack Bryant, the husband of one of the honor flight advisors at Saranac High School, died last night. Vietnam veteran, Navy Seabee, combat veteran, and it was a shock and a loss, and their first reaction when they called me was, we will still have the dinner. So this is not quite the upbeat celebration it might have been, but that doesn't mean it's still not a very valid way to commemorate what everybody's feeling about Jack, veterans being here to honor another veteran. I just think the focus will be shifted somewhat from our veterans to the one that everybody is missing tonight, and in particular being a Vietnam veteran. You know, we at Honor Flight right now are focused on World War II veterans just because of the timing being so critical while they're still here. But there's no generations of America ever got less for what they did than the Vietnam veterans, and now we're going to try to turn that around in some small way this evening with this group.
I think a lot of the motorcyclists that are your escort on some of these, a lot of them fall into that Vietnam era, and I think that's their way of trying to come in, because a lot of the guys, I'm in that same age group. I was 4F, so I didn't have to worry about getting drafted, but a lot of my friends and we've lost friends in Vietnam. A lot of friends came back wounded, but they didn't come back to ticker tape parades, and that's sad. But we're not specifically here to talk about Vietnam. We're here to honor the
I
World
understand.
War II,
I just wanted to point out this is less of a upbeat celebration than it would have been, but nonetheless, it's an important gathering. And what's amazing, Ken Hines, who does so much for the Honor Flight and is one of our officers and director of the North Country Veterans Association, he has a term and he calls it Veterans Helping Veterans, and I think we'll see a lot of that tonight. We have also offered to the family, to Jack's family, that every World War II Honor Flight veteran that's capable of making it will be at his service as his honor guard. So.
Now, I keep forgetting when we do these things
that the timing is quite. I understand
that not everybody knows what Honor Flight is. We jump into these things thinking, well, everybody has to know what Honor Flight is, but could you just give us a brief summary of what Honor Flight is?
Well, let me say this. Thanks to you, just about everybody does know. So we're getting close to being able to skip this part. Honor Flight is a nonprofit organization founded 8 years ago in Columbus, Ohio. It is now nationwide. Our mission is to fly World War II veterans to their memorial in Washington at no cost to them. To date, the Honor Flight Network has flown 114,000 World War II veterans. We were established 16 weeks ago. We have already flown 2 flights, one out of Albany and the most recent one last Saturday, June 8th, out of Plattsburgh. We have flown 34 veterans. We have almost another 60 signed up. We have at least 2 more flights this fall, September and October, and at this point we're hoping they will be tandem flights. We'll put 2 planes in the air for each one to double the number of North Country veterans that we can get to see their World War II memorial.
Now, in addition, I think you've told us in the past, for other veterans, if there's a terminal illness involved, you don't have to be World War II.
Our priority, Calvin, is only World War II veterans served 1941 to 1946, honorable discharge. No criteria on their service. Combat is not necessary, didn't even have to be deployed overseas. If they served, they deserve this trip. They earned it 68 years ago. The only exception we have is terminally ill Korean and Vietnam veterans can be given a priority on an honor flight and taken with an honor guard directly to their own memorial. In the event, we plan to do Korean veterans simply when there are no more World War II vets left. Somebody that would not live to see that day, which could be as soon as 5 years away, will have run out of World War II vets. So we had 1 Korean veteran signed up for this June flight. Unfortunately, he had to be rushed into cardiac surgery and bypass, etc., and missed the flight. Our wishes are all with him. We hope he flies September. So any veteran that would not live a normal lifespan to be able to wait for honor flight to get them to their veteran can have a priority above a World War II vet.
Okay. Now the next flight is September, and you said it's pretty much booked right now, right?
September is full, although we're hoping to run tandem aircraft. That is very unofficial at this point. We did receive a $10,000 donation today, which I stopped at the bank on the way here. A personal friend of the pilot that flew us on June 8th was so impressed by the pilot's enthusiasm and how honored the pilot felt to have been a part of this mission that he immediately stepped up and paid for the first September flight. We do have the funds right now for tandem flight in September and a single flight in October. That's probably not going to be enough. By the 4th of July, we could be turning people down, and at an average age of 90, you do not want to say wait till next year. We have yet to turn down a single veteran, but it takes a lot of money. This one check was the exception. The typical fundraising efforts are very time-consuming and take a lot of effort and yield a moderate amount of money, but we have not had a windfall. We have no grant money. We have no single institution backing us. We raise this one T-shirt, one hat at a time, essentially.
I just can't imagine what you've done in 16 short weeks. It boggles my mind. Do you have fundraising events planned at this point?
We have several things brewing this summer, although we're also kind of trying to get a little of our own lives back.
Yeah.
We have been nonstop. We've had 10 fundraisers in the first 12 weeks of our existence, including some big events like the movie, which you attended, that huge dinner at the church, and several other great dinners. We received a very generous donation from this Legion post. So this summer we have a golf tournament lined up. We were told the hospital is doing something for us, the Order of the Eastern Star. There are a number of organizations, and this is really what we need. We do not have the resources to stage fundraisers. Just like tonight, the ideal thing for us is to show up as guests and have some organization do the logistics. Our job is putting planes in the air, not cooking chicken. So.
Now, I saw you posted on Facebook that something about this June 8th flight involving the personnel on the airplanes.
Yeah, I think this is commendable enough to be part of your broadcast. The crew on the Pen Air charter flight, now we paid for this flight, but Pen Air was very generous. We paid their base operating costs. They did not donate the flight, but they did not make any profit on it. They could never have flown this bird for what we paid them. It just covered their fuel cost, essentially. Their crew then, upon the return, told their supervisors, including both pilot and co-pilot, stewardess, all the flight crew and ground crew, refused to accept a paycheck for that day. They were on that flight 14 hours. They stayed with the aircraft the entire time in Baltimore while we were at the memorial. So Pen Air has done an extremely commendable job. Plattsburgh Airport staff, Chris Craig, just beyond the ability to thank him enough for what they did. The TSA, we received TSA clearance, one of the biggest honors our vets had, and some of them thought that they walked through security and were saluted and their hands were shaken. That was the extent of their security, because we got them clearance all the way down from Washington, D.C., that these men and women, we had two nurses with our flight, would not be subject to TSA searches and so on. So we had a combination of a great airport, a great airline, and a great TSA crew, all of which made this June flight even more special, and the fact that it was in Plattsburgh. We had a huge crowd, wonderful send-off, great reception when we came back, fire trucks, lights, congressmen, everything you could ask for in a North Country tribute.
Well, I just can't say enough about what you and your small handful of volunteers have done. do you feel comfortable trying to name the names of your committee, or do you?
Well, there's a few that stand out, and it's hard to get started, or you're afraid who you're going to leave out.
that's
I'm
right.
going to just go with the top echelon. Colonel George King, Executive Officer of Honor Flight, just a phenomenal organizer, putting his officers' skills to very good use. Danny Barber, our third in command, if you will, commander of the VFW, Post 1505 in Keysville. Every meeting, every event, he has been just tireless. I will only say that the whole rest of the list of the names, Ken Hines, Frank McGrath, Barry Finnegan, all of the ones that participate, Harry Treadway with the Combat Vets Association, and the whole rest of the list, and they know who they are on that same level. We have a small group. I just talked to the director of Syracuse Honor Flight. He has 150 volunteers. I said, we have 8. You know, I said, how many flights have you done this year? He said, 1. I said, we did 2. You know, so but the level of dedication by every single person in our organization, and I have people say I've been a member of a lot of groups. I hated to even go to the meetings. This one I can't wait. There is so much desire to accomplish something, and the reason is very simple. I'm quite demanding, you can ask anybody, but we don't feel we have a second chance to get it right. There is never going to be an honor flight where we say we'll do better next time, or that was pretty close, or we didn't know what we were doing, but we're learning. That is not acceptable when you realize the people we're honoring and that this is their once-in-a-lifetime chance.
There won't be another free trip for these people. This is their chance to go, and so it's got to be done right this time.
Yes, sir. That's
now,
our
people
attitude.
that are listening to this and want to get involved, either they know a World War II veteran, or they want to come across with some
Well, we need 3 things, and I think that our 3 priorities have stayed the same as we're growing much more bigger and well known. Our first priority is World War II vets. You get us the veterans, we will find the money. Honor Flight will never turn down a World War II veteran, period. Second is we need volunteers. We cannot continue to do this with a handful of people. This has been just a phenomenal effort, and while we're pleased, we cannot sustain this level with this smaller group as the number of veterans increases. And number 3, as you said, aircraft is expensive. We are not having parades for these guys or buying them umbrellas. We are putting them on jets and flying them 1,000 miles round trip. That costs money. Anybody that wants to donate can go to our website. They can contact Honor Flight through our Facebook page. Just search for North Country Honor Flight, and we will take whatever this community steps up and contributes.
Okay. If you don't have any luck getting a hold of North Country Honor Flight through Facebook or whatever, contact Hometown Cable. I can put you in touch with Danny just like that.
Just like that.
All right. Anything else, Dan?
No, sir, other than thank you again, Calvin.
All right. Thank you, Dan.
And I miss Gordy. Let him know that.
Okay, I will. Thank you. Okay, Elise, I'm going to let you say your last name. I know it's a French name.
It's Beaulieu.
Beaulieu?
Yes.
Even though there's no R in it, though, is there? But
No, but
R
it's pronounced that way.
Okay. You're at Saranac.
I am. I'm a teacher.
And how did you get involved with this honor flight?
With Honor Flight,
Well, with the Freedom Club, first of all.
Freedom Club was a club that started about 10 years ago. I teach psychology and sociology and world history. And we decided to do a lesson on homelessness and veterans, and I also teach about post-traumatic stress syndrome. So it started with a really small food drive, and it blossomed into this huge trip that we take. We take them down to New York City to Ground Zero. We take them to Washington, D.C., and we end up in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. So usually take around 52 students, senior students, and we had heard that Honor Flight was going to be in D.C. when we were going to be in D.C. May 18th, so we decided it would be nice to meet them there. So we had them come in for an assembly, and my kids immediately bonded with them, fell in love with them, and I think they fell in love with my kids too. And it was our privilege to meet them at their memorial.
All right, so where did this whole Freedom Club idea? Was it something you saw somewhere else, or
Well,
something you just thought
no.
of?
When I was young,
Whoop, come on through here, young man. Here, we're gonna let traffic go through here. We never get in the way of a World War II vet. I've learned that. All right, we'll get you right back where you were.
when I was
back over here and
really
face
a
that camera.
young child, I was really bothered by the way that people treated the Vietnam veterans, and I didn't understand it being really young. So I always wanted to do something to help them, and it did start with my North Country Vietnam veterans. We made a partnership. They come in, they teach in my classroom, and then we started to branch out to the other wars like Afghanistan, Iraq, and now World War II veterans. I just always wanted to say thank you for your service to them.
Now, is it tough? You only have 2 juniors that can be involved, and next year you got to start with a whole brand new crew. Is it that tough?
Yes, but we'll get there. I teach 9th grade and 12th, so I've had some of these kids before. We've already formed a relationship, and it's hard not to fall in love with these guys.
Now, what do you do? Start the year and say who wants to join the Freedom Club? Or
We'll start the year with our community service. What the club does is we build a handicap ramp for a local needy vet.
Right now, are you lining up juniors for next year?
Pretty much, yeah. I'm trying to get through this year. We're still grading and we still have graduation, but some of the kids have already approached me in their junior year and they're very interested, and it's an honors club now because we are involved with the honor flight. So they have to be on the best of their behavior. They have to keep their grades up, and they can't get in any trouble to be able to
Privilege
join.
to be a part of this club.
Absolutely, it is.
All right. Is this the only type of club like this that you're aware of? Are you aware of any similar around?
I am not aware of anything similar at all. I'm very proud of this club.
Well, you should be.
My partner isn't here tonight, Gretchen Bryant. She's the secretary at school, has worked as a co-advisor with me for 10 years on this club. And we love doing this trip for the kids. We love taking them down to see the memorials and the monuments, and just, instilling in them a love of country and patriotism.
Well, I applaud you for doing that. What happened? Today's the 13th of June. You had something at school 2 days ago involving the veterans and your group. What happened on 2 days ago on the 11th at school?
Oh, we had to cancel that
Oh, you did?
on the 11th because they had just gone on the June 8th honor flight, and it was a little bit too much to
close?
do
Oh, okay.
for them, especially for them, and for us being in Regents Week and Finals Week.
Okay.
So we decided to do everything tonight here at the dinner.
Because in your email, I thought it was just you didn't want Gordy and I there because you'd be overwhelmed with what you're doing.
No.
So it didn't happen.
It was too much for both sides to organize, so we decided we would just do it all tonight.
Okay.
And we'd all come together and have a nice night together and share a nice dinner.
I think you're going to have a full house here.
I think so too.
Anything else that I'm not smart enough to ask you that you think should be put out there to the folks?
I think that everyone should thank their veterans and their soldiers, and thank them for the freedoms that we take for granted every day. They deserve our love and our appreciation, and it's not done enough. All they want is a simple thank you.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
At this point in time, we are minutes away from the meal. Chicken and biscuits. A free dinner here for the veterans and their families, put on by this Saranac Freedom Club. A bunch of high school seniors and their advisors. And just an amazing thing here going on at Post 1619, American Legion Post 1619 in West Plattsburgh. And it's just a great thing to see people that are, if you were 18 in 1945, when the war ended, World War II ended, you were born in 1927. So you've got people who were born in 1927, which would make them 86 or older, So there's a 70-year span, and as Elise said, these veterans are the age of, or be the students' great-grandparents, if they have a great-grandparent around. This would be the age of their great-grandparents. So just amazing 70-year span here, and they are bonding. And you have to remember that these seniors, being the 17, 18-year-olds, and that's the age that these veterans were, in the most part, when they first got involved in World War II.
They call them the first generation. They didn't expect anything Andrew goes to Griffin South.
Can I have your attention, please? Whoa. We got your attention. Lisa's asked me to assist this evening. It's been a tough day. In Hemingway's For Whom the Bell Tolls, he starts by quoting John Donne, "No man is an island entire of itself. Every man is a piece of the continent, a part of the main." It seems also that no veteran is an island. We're all part of the force of all veterans, the core of America's heart. Even those of us veterans present here tonight that did not know Jack Bryant, Navy Seabee who served in Vietnam, we feel any loss of a veteran is a loss to our nation. I can think of no better tribute to this man that could be more fitting than the Pledge of Allegiance recited in his honor. However, we're going to ask you to stand as groups. Would all the World War II veterans present please stand? They've had enough applause in the last 2 months. You can say that. Would all veterans present please stand? Would all of the Freedom Club members please stand? Past and present. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment. Kaylee.
At this time, we would like to take a moment of silence in honor of Jack Bryant. He was a United States Navy veteran, and a silent prayer for his family and loved ones.
Please remain standing now for our national anthem by Charlotte Stevens.
Stripes and bright
You can be seated. Kaylee Kuchar of the Freedom Club will speak, and then we're going to eat, and then we're going to have a guest speaker, one of our World War II veterans. Kaylee?
Good evening. My name is Kaylee Kuchar. I just like to say welcome. We are starting the dinner tonight, and we want to serve you guys just like all of you guys have served us. Tonight will be a great night full of laughter, food, singing, and a video of our Freedom Club trip to Washington, D.C. to meet the honor flight. As a club, we try to serve as many veterans as we can, and that is why we are here tonight. We would like to honor and remember those who fought and served our country and made it a big difference. Without you all, I don't know where we would be today. You are all brave and courageous and greatly helped shape our country into all it is today and then some. Thank you all for your service, and I hope you enjoy your night.
Let's eat.
Hey folks, if I could get everyone's attention just for a moment. My name is Dan, I'm a member of the Sons here, post 1619. Mike Brock, the commander, couldn't be here this evening, but just a couple of words. We'd like to say how proud we are that you chose our post to come and do your memorial. And if just a moment of silence for the people that couldn't come back to enjoy this. For those that you were here, I'd like a round of applause because you made our lives that much richer for coming home. Thank you.
Speakers now from the Freedom Club. We hope you enjoyed your dinner. Elise and I were up mashing potatoes since 4:30 this morning. Somebody that knows me said, yeah, sure. Well, that's a lie. Of course it is. All right. Who wants to start? Do I have Beth? I got Ryan. Not as cute, but he'll do. Here you go. Ryan Wood will be speaking to you on behalf of the Freedom Club.
First of all, I just want to say a few words really quick. Hope you guys all enjoyed your dinner. I just want to let the veterans know that that day in Washington when we saw you guys do your monument, you changed our lives forever. Seeing your reactions to the monument warmed our hearts and made us want to do more. That's why we're here tonight. I quickly realized that even doing little things like this could never thank you guys enough for what you guys did for our country. This dinner is just a little small token of our appreciation for all that you guys have done. I want to give a quick shout out to the Kuchar family for whipping all that stuff up in the kitchen for the last 2 days because it was delicious. And I want to give a shout out to Miss B for making this all possible, and if it wasn't for her, we wouldn't be here, and I want to thank her for showing me how to make a difference in the community and being an amazing citizen. Thanks.
I don't know where these guys have been hiding. All I see is hats on crooked and their pants falling off when I see kids. And here's a whole group of them in the same school, the same class. I find her just amazing. And for your benefit, honor flight students, every World War II vet in here thinks you're amazing. Don't we? Of course, you feed these guys, they'll say anything you want. You know what I just love, and I never heard it till tonight, but Elise, would you come up here for a second? What I just love, they call her Miss B. I think that's so adorable. It's like she's one of the Muppets or something. So here's Miss B, who in my opinion, about the finest teacher in America, and one of the greatest leaders ever. And that is not an exaggeration by any means. So, say something Muppet-like here.
Well, I just wanted to thank everyone for coming to the dinner. Thank you for supporting Honor Flight. And to my Freedom Club kids, you know what you mean to me. Past and present, some of the alumni are in here. You know what you did this year. You know that we had a special relationship and you did a great job. And I couldn't be more proud of you. And I wanted to thank all the other veterans from all the other conflicts for coming to the dinner. My Vietnam veterans, Derek, who's back from Afghanistan, people from Iraq, and of course my honor flight vets. We really love you. We wanted to let you know how much we appreciate that you let us, share in your milestone when you saw your memorial in Washington, D.C. this year. That meant a lot to us. So thank you so much. Thank you for your service, and have a good night.
And she'll be on Saturday, 9:30, right after SpongeBob. The Miss B show. I think we have another speaker from the Freedom Club. Beth, are you done with the ice cream? It's your third one. That's nothing. Robert had 4, so you're... There you go. I'm going to just say one thing. This lady they all wrote letters to our veterans when they got back. But there isn't a person in this room could have read a single one this young lady wrote without just being overwhelmed. They were amazing. So here you go. You're speaking for your whole generation. Don't be nervous.
First of all, I'd like to thank you all for all your tremendous service and everything you've done for our country. We all appreciate you so much, and we can never give back to you the way that you've given to us. We all understand that our freedom is from you guys, and you guys have all touched us so much, and getting to spend that time with you down at your memorial was the best experience of our lives. We want to thank you all for letting us join you. It was just amazing, and we all are speechless about it. We've made lifelong friends, and you guys are truly heroes. Thank you for everything.
Our executive officer of the honor flight, Colonel George King, was not able to make it this evening due to a medical emergency involving a very close member of his family in Massachusetts. I hope those of us that know George and what he's done for everybody will have him in our thoughts tonight. He's a wonderful person that is, without him we wouldn't have the honor flight. Without him I wouldn't have gray hair probably. So. But he asked me to deliver his speech to the Freedom Club. He was very concerned he wasn't going to be able to be here, and he trusted me with it. I also believe in this difficult hour for so many of you here. This can help forge your resolve to honor the one man you have lost tonight, so that no veteran shall ever be denied the tribute they merit for their service. As Honor Flight is doing for our World War II veterans, and as all of America should do for all of our veterans, especially the Vietnam era, who were treated so poorly by this country. I think Colonel King's speech, which is specifically to the Freedom Club, will address those issues. So I am reading his words, not mine. To the Freedom Club, it is with a heavy heart that I cannot attend tonight, but personal business requires that I be elsewhere. Danny Kafitz asked me to say a few words about the Freedom Club and what its actions have meant to our World War II veterans. To create a sense of what it means, I will first use my own experience to create the groundwork, and then I will pass on to you a few of the comments and attitudes of our older veterans. I am a veteran of Vietnam with 4.5 years in Southeast Asia. When I came back from Vietnam the first time, the anti-war demonstrations were in full swing, and I encountered them for the first time in San Francisco Airport. I did not know how much the students of the Freedom Club know about this time, but I will tell you it was not a comfortable period to be seen in a military uniform. Outward manifestations of the demonstrators ranged from chanting "baby killer" at them to spitting on soldiers, throwing rocks at them. I thought this would settle down once I got home, but it did not. I went to visit my university, which was known as a stronghold of patriotism, and encountered the same attitudes there. A couple of years later, I returned to the Vietnam War zone, and when I came home the next time, the war was over and nobody cared. Nobody cared. That was the attitude I encountered the second time. And I have to tell you, that hurt more than all the chants. That hurt more than all the chants and demonstrations of the first time. I had done my duty twice and nobody cared. That is exactly the America the World War II veterans came home to. Yes, there was a parade, but that encompassed only a few of the millions that fought. To add my own words to Colonel King's, Robert Brooks told me when we landed, probably at Lido Beach on Long Island, there was a band playing. When the band stopped, it was over. Not just the music was over, the total recognition for 5 years of combat that they would live with for the next 70 years went unrecognized. The band stopped playing and it was over. The rest came home to family and friends, and for the past 60 plus years, nobody cared except their family and friends. They formed their own organizations with the Legion, the Veterans of Foreign Wars, the Disabled American Veterans, and with the exception of marching in some local parades, never looked for recognition. During those 68 years, they also saw soldiers from 2 additional wars come home, where nobody cared. That is why the honor flight is such a surprise to these veterans, because they suddenly realized that somebody cared. Then the honor flight and some of its veterans were invited to a Freedom Club meeting. When 3 of our veterans were introduced to the Freedom Club, they could not believe these young people were really interested in listening to their old musty tales. But they did, and the veterans were truly surprised at their interest. They went back to the other veterans and told them of the outstanding young students they had encountered and sang their praises. That would have been enough, but the surprise of having the Freedom Club waiting to greet them at the World War II monument was overwhelming for all of them. The young people would sacrifice time they could have spent sightseeing in Washington was unbelievable. And then when the students joined in with the veterans and walked the monument with them for hours, it was summed up by one of our vets when he said, "This is really something I feel honored." On the May trip, I was the guardian of 2 of the veterans when we got off on the bus after visiting the memorial and meeting the Freedom Club. They cornered me and wanted to know who had set up the trip and encounter with the Freedom Club. When I told them these young people had done it on their own, one of the veterans' comments was that for most of his life, he had never encountered young people like this group. His feeling was that most young people could care less about veterans, about old people, about war, or anything to do with his generation. He said this was the first time in his life he had shaken so many young hands, and as a result of that and their attitude, he felt they would define the future of our country. The other one agreed and stood there with tears in his eyes. So I think that sums up what the veterans, the guardians, and the officers of the Honor Flight organization think of the Freedom Club and of its leadership. It is an outstanding group of young people who care and give us real hope for the future of this nation. Thank you. That's George's words. I want to add, the only thing I possibly could add to this is, in my eyes, on May 18th, at the National World War II Memorial, I'm tired, I guess, one generation of heroes met another one. I don't think the Freedom Club got where it is without this fine role model and the parents that got them where they are today. And I've already told you what we think of Miss B. One last note, as we were leaving the memorial, I was checking to make sure we had everybody on board. I was the last one still on ground. Our bus was loaded. We were headed for the EO Monument. A young man named Jeremy Barber from the Freedom Club came up to me, shook my hand, and he said to me, "Sir, I want to thank you. This has been the most important day of my life." You know, you don't expect that from 17, 18-year-old kids. The Freedom Club has done more for Honor Flight than any other single group since we were created. Thank you. It's now my privilege and an honor to introduce Mr. Dave Mitchell. Dave, would you come up here, please? I probably got the best card I've ever received in my life from this man, and he called me his Honor Flight Commander. What an honor. Dave's a World War II veteran who earned 4 battle stars in the Pacific Theater in combat. Dave was a member of the inaugural May 18th North Country Honor Flight that was greeted by the Freedom Club, and he'd like to let him know on behalf of all of our veterans what it was like firsthand from them. Here you are, sir.
Susie, come up. Help me stand up. It's very hard to follow this pro. And the words of it's Colonel King, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
He's a fine veteran, and I'm well aware that Vietnam and the Korean War was no picnic at all. First of all, I want to say that I gotta read. The Freedom Club is the most unusual group of children and students that I've ever seen. I'm going to be a little emotional, but I shouldn't be. First of all, I'm going to start with something you're not going to understand. You're not going to understand at first. I think you turned it off. You turned it off? I shut it off. They're going to shut me off pretty soon.
We'll pull that plug later.
Ready. On February 1st, 2013, my wife, I can't even read my writing. You know what's the trouble? You're starting on page 2.
This is part heartbreaking and part of comedy routine. All right, we're done with the funny part. Let's start with page 1.
I, along with 13.5 million men and women, served in World War II from 1942 to 1945. From beginning to end, most everyone was discharged by then. I'll bring my glasses.
Next time.
This war was won because of one reason. Everybody worked together for a cause. Freedom. Freedom is very important. The military, I'm not really clowning. The military, all branches of service work closely together, and over the world, the men and women left behind worked very long and hard, producing great airplanes, ammunition, tanks, trucks, and most supplies. They produced more than any country. We won. When I was discharged from Fort Dix, I was issued a brand new Eisenhower jacket with all necessary insignia attached. I wore the jacket home to Plattsburgh, and for 4 more days it was put in storage. December 19th, 1945. In 1949, I was awarded and issued some medals. They were put in storage with my jacket, where they stayed for 55 years. In 2004, the National Personnel awarded me my medals for my personal Army record. Later, 2 weeks, I was awarded my medals from Army Tank Corps. They also joined the storage with the other military things. Nothing was said by me or anyone else in all those years. Now that's just the beginning. That was just a preliminary.
Dave will be running for office.
On February 14, 2013, my wife and daughter Sue saw an article in the press about the Vets honor flight to Washington. I did not know anything about it. For over 68 years, back to 1945, no one in all those years had ever recognized World War II veterans, nor did we expect any. The honor flight to the memorial has changed that forever. This is you. Danny, our first flight director, and his able associates from Keysville, VFW undertook this dedication they strongly believed in. I'm shaking not from fear because I'm not strong. The honor flight to the memorial has changed that forever. Danny Kafix, our flight director, and his able assistants undertook this dedication they strongly believed in. It began for me at World War number 2 memorial movie at the college attended by May 18th and June 8th honor flights. All vets now were World War II veterans. When leaving the movie and walking back up the aisles between the audiences, we were greeted with utmost respect.
Grab a chair.
Yeah, it's fine. It was awesome and humbling. I think I was hurt because I was you would think I was a cripple.
I think it's the 3 ice creams.
Yeah. Fast forward to May 18, 2013. We left May 18, 2013 by bus after reveille, and a very pleasant send-off by well-wishers. We were escorted by the official motorcycle military escort club. They escorted our bus all the way to Albany with many flags on their bike, many flags on their bikes, also state police, city police, sheriff's department, fire trucks, and I would estimate nearly all 100 motorcycles. On most overpasses over the Northway, many fire trucks were parked with flags and lights blazing, and many people saluting and waving most of the way to Albany. Our bus driver acknowledged all the way with its horn blaring. What a sight. When we arrived at Albany Airport, we were absolutely amazed at the crowds that created outside the airport parking lot to greet us, and they were like family. This entire reception was captured on tape and sound by Gordy Little and Calvin Castine. I have seen it. It is great. Fast forward to Baltimore by plane, then to the Washington Monument by bus. The monument is beyond belief. I thought there was thousands of names. The names are not there. They are all at Arlington National Cemetery. The monument lists events, campaigns, and battles all over the world, all carved in granite. And when stopped at different spots all along, endless people stopped to talk with us. There were daughters, granddaughters, wives of decorated veterans, all very moving as they seriously wanted answers about specific sites. They greeted and showed respect. Now for the very pleasant surprise that I had. While sitting in my wheelchair for a minute or two, I was observed by a young couple coming toward me. She stopped and asked if she could have her picture taken with me. I told her she did not look more than 13 years old. And she said, well, I'm 18 and my friend is 19. So I asked where she was from, and she said, Saranac Central School, the Freedom Club. You had to see those girls down there and the boys down there because it was just unbelievable. They had been traveling to the historic places and they had paid their own way and they had raised their own money. And I told the 19-year-old boy that I was 19 when I had been sent to a combat zone and that I hoped he would never have to go. A short time later, they both returned with 6 or 8 more of their students from the Freedom Club, and they liked their picture taken. They made my day, as they are the ones we desperately need in this world. I would like to personally thank Saranac Central School teacher Elise Bellew. I was told not to make a mistake pronouncing that.
Miss B.
Okay. Miss B, you are applauded for your dedication and love of our country and your fellow club. I got just a little bit more.
Thank you very much.
I gotta finish this.
Let me get to kiss her. Finish this.
I gotta finish this. My favorite award is the World War Victory Medal.
Yeah, I wear it right here now.
You like that one? It says it all, without freedom we have lost it all. This medal is awarded to service in the United States Armed Forces prior from 1941 to 46. Most would qualify, millions and millions do. And here's what it says on the medal. Free from want, freedom of speech, freedom of religion. Those three are being challenged now, and I applaud the Saranac Freedom Club. We need you. It's your turn. Keep up the good work. That's it.
Let's hear it for Dave, for Merwin, for every one of these heroes. Dave was very concerned about his battle stars. It's very hard. We made medals for all the veterans on the trip. And when we were distributing, we saw we were short a couple battle stars, which we replaced tonight. He's all up to date. He earned 4 in the Pacific. I think he deserves another one for tonight. That was probably harder than his tour of duty. But he got through it. And Francis and his cohorts have one last thing here, which I normally wouldn't even let happen tonight, but because of who it is, we'll do it. Bring your buddies up with you, Francis. Robert.
Dave, on behalf of all the servicemen on the honor flight and ever been in the service, now for this plaque, presented to Dave. Go ahead, you read it.
Presented to Danny Kafetson Committee for your service and dedication to the North Country Honor. That's pretty cool.
Alright, I just want to say thank you to you guys for letting us be a part of like your life, and you know, you guys gave us a lot to look forward to on our trip, and you guys just made it even greater. So I just want to say thank you for all the people who contributed to the dinner tonight. We had many sponsors for the dinner: Stewart's, McAdams, Price Choppers, Dick's Liquor Store, Walt McDaniels, Dunkin' Donuts, the American Legion, of course, Maggie's, and Praise Farmers Market. And I would just like to say thanks to the kitchen staff. I had to buy my dad a really good present for Father's Day. And all who helped serve, along with Charlotte Stevens for singing the national anthem. And I especially want to thank Miss B. I just kind of wrote up a little something about her. I would just like to call up Miss B. Come on up. I can't make you cry. Miss B is my hero. Without her, none of this would be possible. She was the main drive in pushing me to be the person I am today. She taught us to fall in love with all of you guys today, and she helped us see the true meaning of a veteran. She has a big heart and always wanted us to strive for us to be better citizens and support our veterans. So thank you for teaching me many life lessons, and I'll carry them throughout my life. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Amazing night. If we could just get one more round of applause for everyone, all of our veterans, that'd be great.
We've got some loud music playing in the background because there's a loud video playing. What's your name?
My name is Jarrett Wright.
And Jarrett?
Yes, Jarrett.
Jarrett, you're a photographer?
Yes, I'm a photographer and I'm a DJ.
Okay. You're still in school?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, so we want to be Roger Barnard when you grow up? Is that the idea?
No, I would like to do that on a side job, but I'm at CV Tech for welding right now.
Okay. So, are you a senior or junior?
I'm actually a junior. I got asked by Mrs. B to do this trip because she knew I did photography, and I just love her because she's such a great teacher. So she asked me to go and photography this trip, and I said of course I would. So
I guess there's only 2 juniors in the club. Is that what I heard?
Yes, there was. There was me and a kid named Ryan Nussel.
Now, you think you might be a member next year?
Oh, definitely. It was definitely a very life-changing experience. It really was.
Okay, now I heard you say this video is about an hour long, so you must have taken lots and lots of pictures.
Yes, I brought 2 different memory cards just so I could fit as many pictures as I possibly could. Yes.
Okay. Was this? I wouldn't say life-changing, but maybe we can say life-changing. Was this a big experience for you, seeing all this?
Honestly, yes. I've been to different places like Florida and all that, but going to go see the monuments was really, I think, the best part of the trip. Everyone said going to New York City and shopping, but it was really the monuments and getting able to see the honor flight. It really was a changing experience.
Okay. Who put the actual video together? You took the pictures?
Yes, Miss Samstone. She was a chaperone on our trip as well. And when we were on the ride home, one long ride home on the bus, she decided to just put all these things together. So video is from her.
Okay. All right. So you're going to probably have to become a leader next year, since you're one of the two people who's going to have some experience with this Freedom Club.
Yes, I've been told that Mrs. B would want me to. Yes.
So you're going to spend the summer planning on what you can do next year? It's going to be hard to follow up on this year's group, probably.
Yes, it is very hard to follow up. We had a very awesome group. Everyone cooperated, everyone fundraised, everyone did pretty much the best they could.
Okay, now have you talked to some of your classmates about next year? You're going to have to, all of a sudden next fall, start putting another club together.
Yeah, we've already had people come up to me and say, how'd that trip go? You got to skip school? And I'm like, yeah, that was really fun. But I told them that it's something that they need to do. It's really something that you really need to do.
Sometimes people are surprised what they end up getting out of it. They might join something on a lark and just figure it's going to be a fun time, but then they find out it's deep and moving.
Yeah, people honestly thought it was just for this trip, but Freedom Club is really just for veterans in general and helping out our community. Like this little dinner we had here was not only put together by donations also, but all the money that we also fundraised, all the extra money, that's how much we actually fundraised. So we decided to give back.
Well, this was an ambitious project, feeding over 150 plus here tonight.
Yes, it was. The Kuchers were the ones that mostly did that. So
they're good cooks, aren't they?
Yes, they actually both work at the jail for cooking, and I'll tell you, every time I go over for a meal, it's always good.
Don't go get arrested just so you could taste their food.
True. No, I won't.
Okay. Well, I appreciate what you've done, and I'm looking forward to hearing what you do next year.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, we have another Freedom Club member. Your name?
Megan Plumidor.
Megan, obviously you're a senior. Seniors only.
Of course.
What did you expect when you were heading to Washington? Was it?
I didn't really know what to expect because it was emotional, because I was sad at the fact that my dad was supposed to be alive to go, but he passed a few years ago and he wasn't able to go. And just to actually see the memorial, I had seen it before, but to actually see the vets seeing it themselves, it's that impact that hits you that you're like, whoa, they haven't seen this, and they never got the chance to actually be recognized and be cared about. And I hugged so many vets and held their hands, shook their hands, told them thank you, and there was a couple of vets that caught my heart, that cried every time I spoke to them and asked them what they thought of their memorial, and that's really what pulls your heartstrings, and you're just like, they're cared about. They really are cared about, and that's what it meant to me.
So, was it more than you would have anticipated?
Oh yeah, it was so much larger than life experience, because I had been in it on my own, and it was like, it's a beautiful memorial, but how important is it to other people? And then to see how much it means to them is really what grabs you.
Well, I have felt that these veterans are going not only to represent themselves, but for people like, you said, your grandfather?
Yeah.
People like your grandfather who aren't here anymore to be able to go and experience this. So they're not only representing themselves, but they're representing their whole era, their whole generation.
Yeah, definitely. And it's such an impact to know that they're brave enough and strong enough to actually want to go on their own, because so many just threw their bag in the closet and ignored it for so long, and now they're actually able to stand up, go out, find out who cares, and have parades and be noticed. It's just a huge honor, and this is probably the biggest thing I had ever had part in my whole life.
Now, have you talked to any of the juniors to tell them that they should be getting involved next year?
I've had a few friends that asked how it was, and I said it was the most rewarding experience you will ever have, and they're never going to really notice it until they actually go on their own. Because yeah, they blow it off, they're like, it's just going to see a bunch of old people. It's not. You're changing people's lives, you're making a difference, and you're making them feel like they're cared about, because they are. It's just not shown as much as it should be.
I don't know how familiar you are with the North Country Mission of Hope, but we've talked to a lot of people that go to Nicaragua and come back, and the experience that they feel because they go there and they know that they've helped change somebody's life there. And here, even though it's just for a day, you've helped change these veterans' lives.
Yeah, and to know that just a single thank you or a handshake had a huge impact, it's like a domino effect. It has an impact on everyone that had any part of anyone's life. And to know that I will always be part of their life is the biggest, most rewarding thing I could ever have.
Okay, well, let's hope this is the start of good things for you, and that you do end up doing a lot more like things like this here.
I'd be honored if I could do more.
All right, thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we got two more of the hired help here. What's your name?
Matt McCaslin.
Matt McCaslin and?
Beth Pomodoro.
Beth Plumidor. I just talked to Plumidor. She was about this tall, though. You related to you?
No, not related.
Okay, Matt, we're talking to girls here, so we'll talk to a guy this time here. You related to Father McCaslin?
Distantly, yes.
Distantly, yeah. He died a few years ago, and he was well in his 90s, so anybody who's related to him had to be distant.
Oh, yeah.
What was your impression when you went on this honor flight?
To do the honor flight was amazing. It was just a great experience to meet the men that have sacrificed so much for our country and for our freedom, that were given nothing. Like they said, when they returned home, they had nothing. The appreciation wasn't there at all, and it was just nice to be able to give back to them.
All right, and you?
I was just speechless. I mean,
You weren't speechless tonight.
yes, they have done so much for us, and just to see them and how much they appreciated us there, it made it all worthwhile, and that was the best part of our trip, I would have to say, by far. I mean, they have truly changed my life.
Okay, what? You find yourself looking at the world a little differently now?
Definitely. I mean, I want to get involved with all the future honor flights and keep in touch with all of our past veterans, and I just want to do everything I can for the veterans now.
All right. And how about you? Has it enhanced your life, your outlook on life?
Definitely. As Beth said, we're going to try to talk to Dan, one of the coordinators, and see if we can possibly go on another honor flight trip with them. It's just nice to be able to help out the veterans. They definitely have changed my life as well.
Well, they have what they call guardians, but I know early on they had a waiting list for guardians, and guardians have to find their own way of paying. The guardians aren't paid for, the veterans are, but the guardians have to find their own money for the flight down there, but I'm sure he can let you get on that list of guardians.
That's what I'd love to be able to do that. Just to be able to go with them would be a great experience again.
All right, and same with you, I guess.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to talk to Danny about becoming a guardian and doing everything I can for these men.
All right. Now, how about Mrs. B? Can you pronounce her name?
Below? I don't think anybody
I don't
can.
know. I don't even think I can.
It's just Miss B.
Bueller, with an E on the end, not Bueller like in the Ferris Bueller's Day Off. But
Yeah.
Bueller. It's a French name, but even though there's no R in the end, it's supposed to sound like an R.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, what Danny has done to organize this and what she has done with you guys is just, you know, the world needs a few more people like Miss B and like Danny K.
Definitely. They're both amazing people, and they have helped us so much and taught us so many life lessons that we'll always remember.
You echo that, Matt?
Yeah, there's no way we could have done this trip without Miss B inspiring all of us, telling us about past trips. Just without her, there's no way we could have done this.
Okay. Well, we appreciate what you have done. Looks like the video is playing now. The music is stopped, and some of the video from one of the monuments is playing. We wanted to talk to the lady who put the video together. I knew her as Debbie Tremblay, but what's her name now, Debbie?
Sandstone.
Sandstone, yeah, but she's a little bashful for some reason. But when she used to play basketball at Northeastern Clinton, my father was still alive then, and my daughter Danielle, who coaches at Seton Catholic right now, was on the team, and Debbie would be one of the ones that would come over and sit and chat with my father, who would have been 91 this year, so she's been hanging around with old people for a long time. Well, I appreciate what both of you guys have done, and how many in your club?
I think we had 22 or 23.
That went?
Yeah.
I think there's about 34 altogether, and plus 2 juniors.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
And
what
thank
you did.
you.
All right. Thank you. All right. We're going to wrap it up here. Losing my voice. I want to thank Judy for running the camera, but I also want to pass along Gordy's regrets. Gordy had hoped to be here, but when this was scheduled, he already had something, a commitment in the middle of the afternoon in Lake Placid, so he was unable to be here. But an outstanding job done by everyone involved, and this is what the North Country is all about, and we salute the Freedom Club and the North Country.